One of the most effective ways to control population is to control their speech. We're there, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, are we going to remain silent? I'm not, as I've got a few things to say about it. Rosie the Riveter here, dropping more truth bombs to destroy fake news and propaganda. Before we get started, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Doing so really does help share the truth with more people. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well to get new videos when they are uploaded. Let's get into today's riveting topic. During the recent World Economic Forum in Davos, the European Commission VP Vera Jourova said this.
Well, we need the people who understand the language and the case law in the country. Because what qualifies as hate speech, as illegal hate speech, which you will have soon also in the US, I think that we have a strong reason why we have this in the criminal law. We need the platforms to simply work with the language and to identify such cases.
So what does she mean? Two examples in England show us exactly where they're headed. Within the last month and a half, two individuals have been arrested in separate events praying silently outside of abortion clinics. So not only can you not say certain things, there are instances where you cannot even think something different than what the government tells you. So far, Americans have been fighting against such authoritarianism in the United States with the First Amendment. But trust me, a pesky little thing like a God-given right is not going to stop this group of tyrannical, world-dominating dictators. And to America's detriment, they have infiltrated our country, especially in our schools, with compliant comrades willing to push this enslaving agenda. I could give you endless examples, but the most recent would be Stanford University. Right before Christmas, they released a list of harmful words and language that should be avoided by all. I'm sure you've seen other videos about it. These elitists are so incredibly woke, they actually put a trigger warning on their document, as the contents may offend people. Oops, sorry, we can't use their term trigger warning anymore because it might, trigger someone. How many of you remember decades ago, woke liberals convinced the Black community that being called Black is offensive and should demand to be called African American? Well, guess what, America? All of a sudden, African American is now possibly offensive, and we should consider using Black instead. But to be safe, we should ask every individual what they prefer. Give them another 5 years and we'll be told to use Negro again. Right, wokies? Nevertheless, I would say their most favorite target minority group is Native Americans or Indians. Over the past decade or so, sports teams have been bullied and threatened into changing their team names and mascots because they were offensive. The Washington Redskins held out for years, but finally caved. They are now the Washington Commanders. Such a nice, dominating white name, don't you think? The Redskins were named to honor William Henry Lone Star Diaz, the football team's coach from 1933 to 34. However, once the controversy arose due to the name, reports started surfacing questioning his claim to be Native American, removing the name's Native American background and allowing them to freely attack it. Wonder if he's related to Elizabeth Warren. Claims alleged because his birth certificate had his parents listed as white, he was not really Native. However, Being a genealogist with over 30 years' experience, I can tell you it is not uncommon at all for natives to have changed their names and proclaimed to be white. It is why it is very difficult to verify native lineage in one's line. And I can say this from personal experience. So apparently, the left praises natives and demonizes anyone who questions them. That is, unless it does not fit in their agenda, and then they'll take them down themselves. Even the man who designed the Redskins logo was a Native American himself from the Blackfeet tribe, Walter Blackie Wetzel, former president of the National Congress of American Indians in Washington, D.C. According to Wetzel's son, Lance, the logo is not offensive, but rather evokes a sense of pride. The Native Americans were forgotten people. That logo lets people know these people exist, Wetzel said. Millions of people across the country were huge Redskin fans. They spent billions on tickets, sportswear, and other merchandise. There was no animosity. They were proud to be Redskins. But still, the Wokies pushed until the name was erased from the franchise, and the people were forgotten again. In 2021, the Cleveland Indians also caved to the pressure and renamed their franchise the Guardians. Somehow, the Atlanta Braves have remained untouched, but I'm sure they are next on the chopping block, as brave is now considered a no-no. Brave having or showing mental or moral strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty, having or showing courage, is now banned from Stanford's allowed words. The term goes back to at least the 1500s in written documents, but because some white, privileged elites say so, we must banish the word completely. Well, Disney, better start pulling your copies of that movie. And while you're at it, go ahead and pull Pocahontas too. Even though Stanford gives you permission to use the name if it is the person's name, but better be safe than sorry. Calling someone a chief is also now offensive. So I guess police departments, fire departments, and all businesses with CEOs, COOs, and CFOs are SOL. We are officially in clown world. But Stanford, if we're going to go down this path, let's just go for it. Let's just go all the way. Let's get rid of every Native American term so as not to offend anyone. Hundreds, if not thousands, of place names were derived from the Native American terms used for the areas. But it's all racist now, so these states need to rename themselves. Massachusetts, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, Ohio. In fact, half of the states will have to change their names to appease the white woke crowd. But it's not just the states. Hundreds of counties, settlements, parishes, cities, towns, and bodies of water must change too. When it comes down to it, it is a group of elites, I would surmise mostly white people, are flexing their white privilege, and they're telling Americans that you can't acknowledge, celebrate, or honor our Native American heritage. All mockery aside, two very serious concepts are happening here: controlling the language and erasing our history. Both are actually communist concepts. If you control the language, you control the narrative. Therefore, you ultimately control the people. You ban so many words, making people terrified they are going to offend somebody or say the wrong thing. They stop talking at all. Likewise, when you remove a society's past, they have no idea where they came from. They are unable to learn from their own history, having pride and replicating what they did right and avoiding what they have done wrong. Communication is actually the antidote to communism. That's why lockdowns, social distancing, and masks are so effective in shutting up societies. Nobody's talking, so nobody knows what's really going on. At the same time, the leftists are controlling our education system, and they're removing all history from our schools except the 1619 Project, a complete rewrite of America's founding and history. And how do you make this take hold? You diminish communication, censor pushback, and demonize dissent of these radical practices, calling any efforts to correct the record as racist and Nazism. Conservatives were mocked during the 2020 riots as radicals pulled down statues. The left defended the actions of the rioters, claiming they were just cleansing the nation of our Confederate history. Conservatives warned they were coming after the founders next. They were mocked. Then they were proven right. In 2015, conservatives warned that allowing gay marriage was a slippery slope, opening the door to very deranged arrangements. They were mocked. Then they were proven right. In 1973, conservatives warned that allowing abortion up to 15 weeks, the idea of safe, legal, and rare, would quickly descend into a practice that could occur up to birth and become as common as going to the doctor and removing a cyst. They were mocked. Then they were proven right. By the grace of God, the abortion ruling was overruled. But we are at another precipice, and again, the left is pushing their radical agenda. So, America, are you going to sit back and silently let it happen only to be arrested in a few years for your thoughts? Or are you going to let your voice be heard peacefully but loudly that this is going to stop? The conservatives are warning. They are being mocked. But there's no coming back if they are proven right. Learn from history. While you still can, patriots, this will not end well if we do not stand up and stand up now. I'm Rosie the Riveter, and that's my 2 cents. But what do you think? Leave your comments down below. Make no mistake, we are in an information war, and the weapon is truth. Find it. If you don't know where to start, begin at thefactspaper.com, where I have links to thousands of articles fighting fake news and propaganda, including those noted in this video. Investigate and discover the truth for yourself. The fight is tough and the fight is hard, but we are winning. The light of truth will destroy the evils of darkness. Come on, patriots. We can do it.